Okay, and we'll go ahead and get started. I forgot my vest. Sometimes I was gonna put on a vest, but I forgot it. So you guys get me without the vest. Okay, hey everybody. Drew Murphy here, Level Up Coaching and Consulting. I really want to welcome you guys back to another Thursday webinar. I really enjoy doing these webinars. It feels really like it gives me a lot of energy and really motivates me and inspires me when I'm able to share this information that I learn, you know what I'm saying, with you guys. This is not just, so the stuff that I share in these webinars is not just stuff that I share with my clients, you know what I mean? It's stuff that I work on myself, in my own personal life. So I know it works, okay? And that's why it's so exciting to be able to share it with you guys. So welcome. For those of you that are new, welcome to Level Up Group. Welcome to Level Up Coaching and Consulting. Thank you for the follows on Instagram and TikTok, Facebook, you know what I mean? And everything else like that. Appreciate the love, as they say. So how it works here with the webinars, for those of you that are new, those of you that have seen this before, you guys already know, but for the new people, what I do with the webinars, say I got my paper, write it down. I always say that to the people, write it down. Take a pen and a pad and write this stuff down. So how I coach is basically how I do my webinars, is how I coach. So what I do is I try to, if we have a topic, like today we're going to talk about stress. So I define the topic first, okay? And then I'll break it down. What are the causes and the reasons and the effects and everything else like that. And then the solutions, okay? That's kind of like how I like to coach, because I know a lot of coaches, and I've met a few in my day, and some of them are really good. I'm not saying anything bad about them, right? But they don't tell you, like, how can I say? Okay, so they'll tell you, like the tools, you need to do this, you need to do that. These are the 5 tools to da 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 da, right? Whatever it is. But they won't tell you how. Like they won't tell you how to actually implement the tools and what they actually mean. Some of that stuff is, as they say in Swedish, sunt förnuft, or in English, as we say, it's self-explanatory. But some of that stuff is not. And when you're talking about personal development and you're talking about really trying to be the best version of yourself, working on yourself, digging deep within, doing that, what they say, DIW, deep inner work. A lot of times, a lot of the stuff, the tools that, you may have or you may be given from a coach, it may be hard to understand exactly how and when to use those specific tools, if that makes any sense, right? So I like to try to be I like to explain as much as possible, make it as easy and comprehensible as possible. I don't think coaching should be complicated. I don't think it should be over anybody's head. I don't think we should use super extra fake intelligent languages and words and whatnot, because I don't know how to do that. But yeah, so I kind of want to make it as simple and plain and understandable as possible. Okay. Because I really want to help my clients, and I really want my clients to drop my pen. I really want my clients to benefit from my coaching and the information that I'm giving them. Okay, and in order to do that, they have to understand what it is I'm talking about. Make sense? All right. So let's go ahead and get started. So the webinar, basically, I'm going to give you guys the information on the webinar. We'll go through the topics. I'll give you the bullet points. Like I said, you can write them down. We'll talk about them. And then after that, I'll give you a bit of a call to action as far as, if you're interested in coaching, and give you some information about how I do what I do and so on and so forth. Okay. So let's go ahead and get started. Today's topic is basically stress. How to manage stress in today's times. Okay. How to manage stress in today's times. So you know it. I know it. Your mama know it. Your sister know it. Your brother know it. Your boss knows it. Your wife knows it. Everybody around you and everybody in the world knows that the way we are living our life right now today is so fucking stressful. It's way more stressful than it's ever been before. And there's a lot of reasons and factors for that. I'm not going to go into all of that, but there's also the social media. There's that device that we have in our hand all the time. There's pressures from society, whatever else, right? And everybody's on the paper chase. It's all about the money and whatever else, right? So there's a lot of stress going on. So this particular webinar is something that also myself, I'm human too, right? So I have moments where I'm stressed, or there's good stress and bad stress, and it gets kind of hectic, and it's like, sometimes it gets a little bit overwhelming. I'll be honest, good stress and bad stress. And today, what I'm going to do is I'm going to share some tools with you that I use that actually help me manage stress. Okay? Help me when it gets to be too much and overwhelmed and I get to freaking out. Then I go to these tools I have right here, and it helps me manage my stress. So hopefully they'll help you as well. Okay? So go ahead and write this down. We're going to talk about, first of all, I'm going to give you the introduction. And in the introduction, we're going to talk about the definition of stress. We're going to talk about the types of stress. And we're going to talk about the impact of stress. Okay, so that's the introduction. The definition, the types, and the impact. Okay, that's number one. Number two, we're going to talk about understanding stress. Okay, we'll go through triggers and, stress response and things like that. Okay, we'll talk a little bit about that. So number two is understanding stress. Number three, the importance of stress management. See, I got my paper. I wrote it down. Actually, I didn't write it down. I printed it out. Kind of cheated. But anyway, number three is importance of stress management. Okay, say that again because that's important. Number four, strategies for managing stress. Okay, strategies for managing stress. Let's see here. And then number five, we'll do some practical activities. I'll give you some ideas of practical activities. And then I'll give you a conclusion. Okay? Let's see. I got something turned around here. There we go. All right. So, there we go. So, let's go ahead and get this thing started, man. Kicked off. Like I said, you and I both know, everybody knows we're going through a lot of stress. You got stress at your job. You may have your own business. You have family. You got kids. You got a husband, a wife, mom, dad, friends, co-workers, traffic, if you catch the train to work, whatever. There's a lot of different stress. And a lot of people today seem to not really be able to handle stress as positively or as well as they should. I don't think people give themselves credit. This is the thing. I don't think people give themselves credit enough for how well they can actually handle stress. A lot of times when a stressful situation comes up, people just freak out. You know what I mean? They just, I can't take it, goddamn it, But if they really just took a step back and really thought about it, they actually have more credit. They actually have more in them already, right? That helps them handle the stress and maneuver and pivot, through those stressful situations. But the way the world is, people don't have time to think about it. They don't, they're so worried about the next thing and the next thing before the next thing comes, so they're really stressed out. So let's talk about that. Introduction. Definition of stress. So what is stress? What is stress? If I say to you, what is stress? What would you say stress is? Right? A physical, mental, or emotional response to external or internal pressures. A physical, right, mental, or emotional response to external, outside yourself, or internal, within you, pressures. Okay, so that's basically what stress is. We don't have to break that down. I'm sure everybody can understand what that actually means. It's your response to what happens around you, inside of you or outside of you. It's just that simple. It could be physical, mental, or emotional. Now, there are different types of stress. Now, I'm not a stress doctor. I'm not a stresscologist, okay? I don't have a PhD in stressology or anything else like that. But So I'm not going to go really, extra deep into the different minute, microcosms of stress and everything else like that. I'm going to keep it simple. Okay. But there are different types of stress. Okay. There's acute stress, there's episodic acute stress, and then there's chronic stress. Okay. So acute stress, episodic acute stress, and chronic stress. Episodic acute stress. What the name itself tells you. An episode, something happened right away, it's acute. Something that's happened, I just lost my job. Right? God damn it, I just lost my job. That could be stressful. That could be stressful. Trust me, I know. I've been there. I know exactly what that feels like. Okay, so things like that happen. Something in the relationship. Something with your relationship with your wife, your husband, or your kids, or something. That just, it's an episode, something that happened, a situation, and it's gotten stressful. Your kid fell off the bike and got hit by a car, God forbid, or your wife or your husband, messed around on you or whatever, right? So that's what the episodic acute stress. Then you have acute stress, something that just like happens that you can't control. Just, it could be, another episode outside of, like an episode. Does that make sense? And then you have what they call it chronic stress. I'm laughing, it's not funny. I'm laughing, but it's actually not funny. Chronic stress, we know what that is. You're always stressing about the same thing over and over and over and over and over. This damn job, I hate this job. Oh, I got to get another job. Oh, this relationship is not working out. Oh, my money situation is messed up. It's like the same, whatever specific thing is all the time. It's chronic. It happens all the time. That is the main thing. I'm stressing about the same thing over and over and over and over and over. Right? So those are the three types of stress. And then we talk about the impact of stress. Now, I don't think I need to tell you too much about the impact of stress. I think we all understand what the impact of stress can be. Here it says physical fatigue, physical stress, fatigue, headaches, emotional stress, anxiety, irritability, and then behavioral stress, poor decision making, and procrastination. So all of those things are the impacts of stress. Mental, physical, behavioral. If you're stressed out, you may make poor decisions. You may procrastinate. You may not want to go after your goal, right? Because you're so stressed about it. You made the goal this big. You haven't broken it down into smaller, manageable parts. You're just thinking about the big picture all the time, and you haven't broken it down. So now you're stressed. You have anxiety. You make poor decisions, and then you procrastinate, and then you give up. Right? That's one example. Another example could be, you're irritable. You're irritated, and you have anxiety, and you're depressed, and you're, just not in a good space because of the job that you have. Not the job itself is very stressful, but maybe you really don't like the job. Maybe the fact that you're at that job, you don't like the people, you don't like the circumstances, you don't like whatever else around it, right? So there's different impacts of stress. And then of course that actually we all know it can lead to heart attacks and strokes and, all types of, physical, ailments, and stress will kill you. High blood pressure. It's not a joke. So we're going to talk about it. We're going to try to see if I can figure out some tools or give you some tools that will help you bring that stress down, because stressing is not going to make it happen, right? Stressing is not going to make it come faster, right? Like you're not going to, because you're stressed out about money, doesn't mean it's going to come faster. In fact, it may even take longer for you to get to your financial goal because you're so stressed out about it that you're not looking at it clearly. You're not seeing a clear view. You don't have a clear vision of the goal, whatever it is. If it's a financial goal, let's say, you're too busy stressed out and you're too busy. You have this paradigm, in the back of your mind, the way you think, your mindset is all set to be stressed out. So, we'll talk about that. Let's talk about understanding stress. So, understanding stress. Stress triggers, stress response, and then positive and negative stress. Okay, so stress triggers. In order for you to be able to understand stress, you got to work out what it is that's stressing you out. Is it the workload? Is it your relationship? Is it your financial concerns? Is it your health issues? Is it your, family and friends, your circle. Okay, so what is it? What are the triggers? What is it that sets you off and gets you starting to be stressed out? Okay, and we're gonna talk about how to handle this, later on down in the talk. But I just want to basically break down and give up a what would you call it? A blueprint, sort of a structure, a framework of what it is we're talking about, so that you can understand it. So when I do go into the solutions to these things, you'll have a clear view. Does that make sense? Okay, that makes sense. So stress triggers, we already know. Like I said, it's workload. It could be your family, whatever, right? Then we have stress responses. What are the different stress responses? I call it the 3 Fs. Okay, fight, flight, or freeze. That's basically it. If you're in a stressful situation, be it an acute stressful situation, a car accident, say, or something like that. Or if you're in an episodic situation, stressful situation, something happened at school or work or whatever, you have 3 different ways that the human being usually responds to stress. Okay, it's either fight, flight, or freeze. I don't think I have to explain that. I think everybody knows what that means, right? You're either going to fight, you're going to stand there and face it and go, okay, let's go, let's deal with it, whatever it is. Or you're going to say flight. Oh, no, I'm going to run away from it. I'm afraid. I don't know what to do, da-da-da. Or you freeze. And you don't know which way to turn, and, So those are the different responses. Okay, we'll talk about how to handle that and everything else like that. And then we have positive and negative stress. So there's positive versus negative stress. So outside stress is, okay, so they say positive stress and negative stress. So positive stress, that comes from behind you. That's not necessarily, I wouldn't call it stress. That's more of a motivation. Okay, I got a deadline. I got to get this done. I gotta do this research on this paper so I can go ahead and make this presentation. Time's ticking. Let's go. That's behind you. It's pushing you forward to make you become the best version of yourself and make you stand up and go, okay, no fight, no flight, no freeze. Let's go. Let's just do this. Right? You're ready. It's a motivator. It's like a fire under your ass, as they say, right? So that's positive stress. Then, of course, you have negative stress, which is in front of you, right? Stopping you. It's a wall around you that keeps you from moving forward because of fear, anxiety, frustration, whatever else, all the other downward spiral emotions and thought processes that go along with not moving forward. Okay, that's negative stress. And obviously we want to, that's what we want to work on and try to work on staying away from. Okay, so that's number 2. Now, number 3, the importance of stress management. What's important about stress management? What are the things that can help us? Why is it so important? Well, obviously, if you are in a high paced lifestyle, maybe you have your own business, maybe your work environment, you work where it's high level stress, you're moving, a lot of things happening at once or whatever else like that, or whatever else. Managing your stress will help you from burnout. It'll help you realize when it's time to set boundaries and when it's time to say no, when it's time to take a step back, when it's time to be kind to yourself. If you manage the stress properly, you'll have these tools, right? They will keep you from going, full on burnout. Okay, that's one of the things it'll do. Also, it improves your physical and mental health. That's common sense. Manage your stress, you'll feel better. Physically and emotionally, mentally and spiritually, you will feel better if you manage your stress. And we'll talk about how. Also, one of the things that managing your stress will help you is it will induce or it will increase your productivity. Okay? And it'll help you with your decision making. Remember earlier we talked about poor decision making because of stress being a factor and and procrastination and freezing and not doing anything. Well, if you manage your stress, that's going to help you make better decisions because you won't make a decision on the fly. You won't be making a decision out of a stressful moment, a stressful situation. You'll be able to think clearly and you'll be able to make a wise and proper decision. Okay, so those are some of the reasons. There's many others, but those are the main reasons that stress management is important. Okay, so now that we've talked about stress, we've got the introduction, we understand it, we understand the importance of managing it. Let's go ahead and dive into the strategies for managing our stress. Now we get to the tools. You understand what it is we're talking about. Now we can get to the tools, and I can give you some of the things that can help you with managing your stress. Okay? So strategies for managing stress. There's a lot of them. There's a few of them. I think when I was putting this this webinar together, there was a bunch of different things that I was, picking and plucking and trying to see which ones work and whatever else. And so I had to put together a nice little comprehensive thing here based on one of my coaching packages. So I think I got it right. We'll see. So, strategies for managing stress. Let's start with A, physical strategies. So there are physical strategies. What does that mean? Physical strategies for managing stress. Exercise. Okay, exercise releases endorphins, the feel-good endorphins. So exercise, working out, going to the gym, taking a walk, going swimming, walking, biking, whatever it is, right? And it doesn't necessarily have to be like a workout thing. I always say that because I'm a workout guy. I love to go to the gym and everything else like that. I haven't been in a while, but I like to go to the gym. That's my thing. So when I talk about working on stress and physical strategies for dealing with stress, for me, it's going to the gym, slamming that iron, right? That's my thing, slamming iron. But it doesn't have to be that. It could be anything. My wife, for example, she's not a big gym person. She'll go to the gym, but that's not her thing. She's more like going out into nature, taking walks. You know what I mean? Like I always talk about the summer house that we have, which is about 4 hours south of where we live in Stockholm. And 4 hours south of where we live, there's a place called Oskarshamn, which is where my wife is from. And we have a summer house down there, right on the lake. So that in itself is also a physical strategy. Go down to the summer house and, sit there and walk out on the lake and walk around in the little forest area they have there. So those are, those are physical examples of managing your stress. And then you have, as one physical strategy, which is exercise. Another one, I would say, is sleep. Okay? I would say is sleep. Now, this one is a lot of people want to say it's overrated. A lot of people are like, oh, I ain't got time to sleep and da-da-da-da. Listen, all that, I ain't got time to sleep. I sleep when I'm dead, blah, blah, blah. You sleep when you're dead, you'll be dead before you know it. Like, you'll be dead sooner than you need to be. So, sleep is important. I know that they say, I'm not a doctor, but they say, what do they recommend? 7 to 9 hours of sleep or something like that? I think it's 7 to 9 or 7 to 9 hours of sleep. Now, if that's possible, that's possible. I understand everybody's lifestyle is different. I understand that there are a lot of things that require you to be present in various different hours of the day. If you got kids, you got a long job. Most people work. I think they said 7 to 9 hours, and I think they based that basically on people working an 8-hour day. I'm not sure, you can Google it, but I think that's what they based that 8 hours or 7 to 8 hours of sleep, 9 hours of sleep on. People working an 8-hour day. You and I both know people don't work 8-hour days. People have, by the time they get up in the morning before the time they go to bed, it may be 17, 19 hours, depending on your situation, even more. So, but I do say that sleep is something that you should definitely prioritize. It relaxes your brain. You'll be able to decompress. Okay, you have to get your sleep. Because if you don't, you have strokes, right? You have all the headaches and all that kind of stuff. You get your high blood pressure, hypertension, and all that, right? Then you got a heart attack. Then you got stress. Then you got aneurysms and all this kind of craziness that you don't need in your life. Trust me. Go to bed. Trust me. Take your ass to sleep. Also, another physical strategy for working on your stress is a healthy diet. Certain things you can reduce in your diet that'll help you, and I'm not going to sit here and preach about a diet because I don't have the best diet myself. So I would be a hypocrite to tell you don't do this or don't do that or don't eat this or don't do that. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you that because I eat and I don't eat I don't eat super unhealthy, but I don't eat as healthy probably as I should myself. So I'm not gonna talk about that. But what I will say is a health excuse me, a healthy diet is definitely a physical strategy for helping you reduce your stress. All right, try to incorporate some vegetables and things in your life, and try not to eat. What I try to do is I try not to eat so late. Right? I don't eat a whole lot, but I try not to eat so late at night. You know what I mean? And that actually helps me with my stomach. It helps me, with my sleep. Because if I eat so late, it stays with me. And yeah. So anyway, those are the three physical strategies. Okay. So let's talk about some mental strategies about managing stress. What are some mental strategies that we can use, okay, to help us manage our stress? Number one, you guys know me, you know what I'm going to say. Mindfulness and meditation. I know that is something that a lot of people want to get into, but they feel like they don't know how. They think that they think it's simpler than what it is, or they make it too complicated or whatever. Listen, I meditate. I do it in the morning, and now lately I've been doing it in the morning and at night as well. Because I'm really working on myself and I'm working on, the goals and the things that I have planned for my business and everything else like that. I'm trying to get my center right. But so I recommend meditation, but I know that also too, meditation may not be for everybody, right? And people may not know how and what do I do and how do I meditate and how do I clear my brain and everything else like that. So I'll say this to you. Now I'm not a professional. I'm not Russell Simmons. Okay. But what I will say when it comes to meditation is this. You don't have to be a guru, a super Buddhist yogi guy, woman, whatever, right? To meditate. So say like this. When you're meditating, let's take 15 minutes, just for example. Most of the time people they say start off with 5 minutes, right? And so, we'll do that. Let's start off with 5 minutes instead of 15. Start off with 5 minutes. So the first minute or so, your brain is gonna be having all these thoughts coming in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out all the time. All these they're just gonna go racing, crazy. There's thoughts everywhere in your head. That's okay. That's fine. Let them come. Don't try to fight. That's a lot of people think meditation is forcing the thoughts out. No, let them come. You can't force them out. They're going to come. So let them come. So your brain says, okay, I'm going to flood you with all these thoughts, and da-da-da-da. You sit still. Find a quiet place and sit still. Let that happen. The second part of the 5 minutes, your brain goes, hey, what are you doing? Oh, you trying to be still? Oh, you trying to center? You trying to become one with yourself? Well, guess what? I'm going to give you even more thoughts. And they'll come, and then they'll maybe even different type of thoughts, maybe worse thoughts, whatever. That's fine. Let it come. This is my experience. Let it come. It's okay, because they're going to come. Let them come. And when you find yourself drifting off onto that thought, when you catch yourself drifting off to that thought, bring yourself back to your center of peace. If you're got a meditation with sound, if it's music, or if it's just quietness, whatever, right? Bring yourself back. Have a mantra, which actually works for some people. A mantra is something that you repeat to yourself over and over and over again. You can do it mentally, or you can do it verbally. That's totally up to you. Then the last part of that meditation session, your brain goes, oh, okay, I guess you're serious about this. Okay, well let me slow down then. And then your brain starts to slow down. And then you start to get into that flow. And you'll feel it and you'll know when you get there. You'll go, okay, right? Now that's going to take time. That's going to take effort. That's going to take a lot of patience on your part if you are a new person to meditation. So don't beat yourself up about it if it doesn't work out the way you think it does the first 5, 10, 15, 20 times. Take your time with it, okay? So that's meditation. And I recommend, meditation is not for everybody, okay? Maybe not. But so what I say, instead of trying to go into that, just find yourself. I don't care what it is in your life, your situation, your world. You got kids running around acting crazy. Husband is this and wife is that, mama, whatever. Find yourself a place in your house where you can go and sit for 5 minutes. Just sit still. You don't have to close your eyes and meditate. You don't have to say, Mom. You don't have to do none of that. Just sit your ass down, right? Sit down and sit still. Fumbling with your fingers. No telephone, no fumbling with your fingers, no looking around. Sit still in a place on the edge of your bed or in a chair, whatever, right? Whatever that room is, take 5 minutes and just sit still. Start with that. Just start with that. The thoughts and whatever, that doesn't matter. Just sit still, okay? And start with that. And add that 5 minutes to 10 minutes and 15 minutes and so forth until you get maybe 20 minutes, half an hour. That's one way to start with the meditation. But mindfulness, as far as being in the presence of now, the nowness, in the present moment of now, right? Think about what's happening now. Don't think about what's going to happen later. Don't think about what happened yesterday. Don't think about what you got to do. Think about the fact that I am sitting here right now in the quietness of my room, when everything else is going on that's got nothing to do with me. I am sitting here. That's mindfulness, all right? So that's one of the mental strategies that actually works for me. Another one, what they call it cognitive reframing. But basically, challenge your negative thoughts and focus on what you can control. So challenge those negative thoughts. When you have negative thoughts, negative beliefs, negative things about yourself, negative things about what's going on in the world that affects you, your kids, whatever, challenge those beliefs. Challenge those thoughts. Are they stemmed in reality? Right? Like, are they stemmed in fear? Right? Are they stemmed in something that that's not real? Right? A lot of times it's just false evidence appearing real, right? Fear. And a lot of times we have these negative thoughts, especially when it's negative thoughts about ourselves. It's our old paradigm that told us from whatever, maybe from our kids, from our childhood or people in our lives, whatever, it has to be this way, you can't do this, whatever, right? Challenge those thoughts, okay? This is going to help you with your stress. Challenge those negative thoughts, because if you challenge the negative thoughts, then you won't be so stressed out to try to prove otherwise, or you won't allow those negative thoughts to stress you to the point where you can't move and you freeze. Does that make sense? Okay? Challenge negative thoughts and focus on what you can control. That is a very, very important very important thing when it comes to managing stress. A lot of people want to control everything around them. Stop trying to control everything. Stop trying to control everybody. Okay? Focus on what you can control that's going to benefit you in your life. That's going to help you become a better version of yourself. That's going to help you get to further along towards that goal that you're trying to get to. Focus on that. Don't focus on trying to control your husband or your wife or your kids or your family or this or that. Focus on what you can control. What you can't control, you can't control it. You can't do anything about it. So stop stressing it. Let it go. Leave it alone. Right? You will feel a lot better. Trust me. So that's number 2 as far as the mental strategies. Another mental strategy is time management. Manage your time. Prioritize tasks with tools and break tasks into smaller, manageable parts. Okay, so managing your time is what? Basically, what I tell my clients when we talk about time management, what I say to my clients is make a priority list. Okay, write down a priority list as far as things that need to be done in your life to help you. Let's say if you have a goal, okay, you have your goal written down. Write down a priority list, things that need to be done immediately that's going to get you closer to your goal. Okay, and then even in your life, if I have a client who's trying to, maybe structure their life and they want to get some more structure, some more discipline, some more balance in their life, then when I tell them, write a priority list. Build routines, write a priority list and build routines off of that. What's important? What's most important now? Because then that's time management, because that's important. I got to do that now. I will spend the X amount of time on that, because all of the other things that are not as important, you don't have to spend that much time on them. Does that make sense? So time management is very important because then you know what you have, you know what your schedule is. Okay, now you don't have to worry about being stressed out because you know at 8 o'clock I got this, 9 o'clock I got that, and so on and so forth. Okay, so time management. There's a lot of apps and different programs online and YouTube and wherever else that you can find to help you with these external tools that can help you with your managing your time, so you don't have to do it by yourself. And then, like I say, break tasks down into smaller parts. That's one thing that I notice. People, like, if I have clients that have a big goal, they get overwhelmed because the goal is so big and they don't know how they're going to achieve it. They don't know where they're going to get the resources to do whatever it is they need to do as far as this goal is concerned. They haven't become the person that they need to be in order to get to that goal, right? They're all over the place and they're stressed out and they're worried and they're overwhelmed. Well, when you get overwhelmed, what happens with that? You stop moving. You start procrastinating. You start making excuses as to why you didn't get up in the morning to go do what it is you need to do. You start doing things that are counterintuitive to actually going towards your goal, and that's because you're afraid. That's because you're overwhelmed and you're frustrated and you're afraid and you have anxiety and you don't know which way to turn. That's why I say break it down into smaller parts. Okay? Break it down into smaller, manageable parts that you know, what can I do today? This is my goal right here. This is my C goal right here. That's it right there, right? What can I do today, right here where we are today, to helps get me to that point? Okay? When you think that mentality, when you have that what can I do today mentality, that is going to help you break down your goals in so many different ways. It's going to make things so much easier for you. Okay? It'll lift so much stress off of you because you know I did my best today. Today, I did what I needed to do. Does that make sense? Okay? So that's time management. Now let's talk about emotional strategies. So some of the emotional strategies, writing it down, social connections, one thing I like to write and talk about is setting boundaries. Those are some of the things that I like. But okay, so journaling. Now I've been really bad at, and my wife talks about it all the time. She gets on me all the time about write it down, write it down, write it down. I'm really bad at writing it down. That's just not my thing. It doesn't work for me. I retain the information up here anyway, so that's that. But I do encourage you to write, like journal. Make a journal, okay, of some of the things that stress you out, some of the stresses, some of the factors, some of the triggers that you have. Write them down, okay, and then review them and look at them, and then make a list, okay, of some of the things that you can do that are opposite that stress you. Does that make sense? Okay, write about your emotions, and that may help you process them. Some people really do need to write it down all out. Some people not so much. They don't need to write it down. But I encourage you to either write it down or record it. I do recording. I can record it in my phone. Get it out, on some sort of tangible source, like paper or your phone or something like that, and write it out. And that will help you process, like I said, the triggers and all these other emotions and things that are going through that got you stressed out. Okay, so journaling is good. Another one is social connection. I mean, communicate, talk to people. Communication. You got to learn how to open up. You got to learn how to talk to people. You got to learn how to ask for help. You have friends, you have close people around you. You have husbands and wives and boyfriends and girlfriends and mothers and fathers and uncles and whoever else and homeboys and, whatever, right? Now I'm not saying you got to open up to everybody, obviously, and you got to watch, you got to know who you can trust, with this very vulnerable and important, valuable information. But talk to your friends, or if you can't do that, see a therapist. Seek help. Find a social connection that will help you vent, because you can't keep it inside of you. It's got to come out. And it's going to come out one way or the other. By the way, it's going to come out one way or the other. It's either going to come out in a very negative and destructive way that will cause problems for you in your life. I know, because I've done it myself, so I'm here to tell you. Or it can come out in a positive way if you let it out. Seek that social connection. And then another emotional strategy is very, very important. I should have said this one at first, actually. Setting boundaries. Know when to say no and know when to delegate tasks. Let's say you're a boss, you're an entrepreneur, you have people under you, whatever else like that. You can't do everything by yourself. You know you got to delegate. Okay? But then besides that, as a human being, as a person, whether you got a business or not, know when to say no. Know when to set boundaries and say, you know what? This is not going to help me. This is not going to be beneficial to me. This is not going to help with my mental and emotional health. So the answer is no. I'm not doing this. Whatever it is, if you got to learn how to set those boundaries and go, okay, because if you don't, then you'll allow this in and you'll allow that in and then you'll allow this in and then those people will tell you this and then you next thing you know, you're pulling and being torn in all different directions. Now you're stressed out again. Set boundaries. Okay? Now we're talking about relaxation techniques. Okay? Now that's, basically, the whole, massages and, tense and relax muscles, the muscle groups and everything else, go and get a massage and everything else like that. Also hobbies. Find something that makes you happy. Find something that brings you joy. Find something that you can laugh at while you're doing it. Something that makes you feel like, yeah, this is fun to do. Okay? That's important. Okay? Whatever those activities are. Painting. My wife is a painter, by the way. She's an artist. She paints. She really gets in her zone and she really just goes off into a whole nother world. And sometimes I'll stand and I'll watch her because it's amazing to watch. She's very good at her paintings, by the way. I mean, she did this one. So I'll show you that one, right? And plus others. But it's kind of cool because she really gets into this world and she's just, she's looking back, oh, okay. And she, it's really, really cool to see how that's what I want to get you to understand. Find something that turns you on like that, right? Something that makes you, like for me, it's music, right? I love to play my guitar, and I like to do a whole bunch of other stuff, but you know what I mean? Find something that relaxes you, that makes you feel good, okay? And then we have, what do we have here? We have professional support. Well, I said that earlier. Seek therapy if you need to. A lot of times, I don't know what your world is like, who you have around you, what type of people you have around you, who you can trust, who you can go to or whatever, or even if you have the opportunity to go to professional help. But professional help works. Therapy works. You can't solve everything by yourself. Obviously not. That's why you're stressed out, right? That's why you're stressed out. That's why you're stressed the fuck out. You can't solve everything by yourself. You need somebody from the outside, right, who has a different perspective, who's neutral, right, who doesn't have, the A or B bias. They're just neutral. Therapy helps. So that is definitely something that I would definitely recommend. I've done it myself. It works, and I've become a much better person, not just professionally, but personally as an individual. I've been able to grow and become a better Andrew, right? So seek professional help. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to give you guys some practical exercises, some practical activities that are going to help you as we go further along, dealing with your stress, right? So one of it is, like I said, with meditation, there's guided breathing exercises. Now, I know that sounds crazy, but you can look it up on YouTube. You can Google it, whatever. Do your Googles, whatever. Googlify it or whatever you got to do. But guided breathing exercises. When you're stressed, you got to breathe. Take a beat. Take a step back. Just breathe. Count to 10, whatever you got to do. Okay? That's one activity that does work. Just take a few breaths in and out, inhale and exhale, breathe, count to 10, slow down, let your mind catch up to you, and then you can act. Also, there's something called stress trigger identification. What that is basically you write down, let's say your top top 3, top 5 stressors, or top 3, top 5, yeah, things that trigger you and start to trigger your stress. Write them down. And then brainstorm different solutions. Write down the 5 things that stress you, right? Your top 5 stressors. And on the other side of that paper, write down the opposite. What the solution to that? How to alleviate that trigger, okay, or that stressor, okay? So this is the end of the, let's see, how much time did we do? I think we did pretty good here. Yeah, 45 minutes, not too bad. Okay, I did all right. So basically towards the end now, and I just want to give you guys a couple of takeaways. Basically, so stress is manageable. Okay, we know that stress is something that is, there's no cure for it, but there is treatment, right? Just like other illnesses in the world we live in, right? There's no cure, but there's a treatment. Stress, there's no cure for stress, but there's a management. There's treatment for stress, and that management and that being able to manage stress is proactive strategies. You got to be proactive, okay? And you have to be ready to balance and take your time, okay? A balanced approach involving physical, mental, and emotional tools is key. A balanced approach involving mental, physical, and emotional tools is key. Okay? It's manageable, but you have to have that balance. Okay? And building resilience will help prevent your stress as well. Because once you start to building your resilience, you're tough enough, so to speak, as they say, tough enough. You've been through this before. So you know where, okay, I've been here before. I know what that is. Okay, cool. So now I have the tools to deal with that, and I can pivot, I can move, instead of it stressing me out, instead of it stopping me. You know, I can put that behind me and use that energy to move forward. Okay? I really hope that this has been something that you all oh yeah, this is something I was going to do, but I'm not going to do that. I really hope that this is something that you all got something out of. And if you did, then do me a favor and please put it in the comments what you got out of it, what helped you, as far as, you know, some of the things I said during this webinar. So if you are interested and you have, you know, questions and you want to know about my coaching, okay, and you want to maybe, you know, start getting into your own personal development and start building and becoming a better version of yourself, and you really want to change that mindset, and you really are ready to say, hey, you know what? I'm ready to do the work. This is not working. I need a better life. Today's the day. I'm going to do it, right? If that's where you are, then you can contact me, okay, right here on, you can contact me on Instagram at DRU_Murphy, okay? Or you can contact me on, let's say my email address, levelupcc065@gmail.com. I'll say it again, levelupcc065@gmail.com. So this is what happens. You're ready for a change. You're ready to fix your mindset. You're ready to start building, and you're ready to start to get going after those goals that you really want in your life. And 2025 is coming up, you know, new year, new you, that whole thing, right? But you really are serious, and you really, really, really want to do something to change your life. I can help you. I can help you. So, but in order for me to help you, you have to be willing to do the work. Okay? You have to be willing to take the responsibility and have the discipline and the resilience to keep going and do what is required of you to become a better version of yourself. So, this is how it works. You contact me, we sit down and we talk either face-to-face if you live here in Stockholm, or we can talk on a Zoom or whatever, and you tell me what your goals are, what your challenges are, what your aspirations and what it is you feel that's got, you know, that's inspiring you and wanting you to go forward, and what you feel like is stopping you, okay? What your setbacks are. You tell me, we talk about that. Then I talk about what I do, how I can help you, okay? And then we figure out a comprehensive program that will work for you, and we take it from there, Okay? That call, by the way, is free. That doesn't cost you anything. Now, if you are interested and you want to get started now by the new year, I am having a today was the last day of the sign up for the 25% off package, because today's the 20th. Well, today's the 19th, but tomorrow's the 20th. So after Christmas, I'm going to have an after Christmas sale. So basically, if you sign up, for the new year, for, in January, then I have special prices. I have special deals for you. So, a few percentages off, so you can go ahead and get started right away. Listen, don't wait. Don't wait. Everybody, I don't know if I have the money. I don't know. Listen, if you want to make a change, you will find whatever resources necessary to make that change if you're serious. Okay? And if you don't make the change now, 3 months from now, you're going to be in the same position you were in today, or maybe worse. Maybe worse, right? So don't wait. Okay? Take the opportunity now. This is the universe telling you that now is the time for you to take this opportunity to start building on yourself and become a better version of you and who you are. Okay? So enough of that talk. Listen, thank you very much. I really enjoyed delivering this webinar. I get a kick out of doing these webinars, man. I can sit here and talk about it for hours. I really enjoy doing these. So we'll talk next week on Thursday. 7 p.m. Stockholm time. We'll have another webinar. We'll talk about another topic. Until then, by the way, I will put the link to this webinar up on, I will put up on YouTube. And then I'll take the YouTube link and put it up in the Facebook group. So you guys can go to the Facebook group, Level Up Group, if you're not a member, by the way, already. And then you can check out, you can check this out on your own time, again, if you want to watch it again. But it's not going to be up forever. So I'll put it up tonight, tonight, maybe tomorrow, and then it'll be up over the weekend, and then I'll take it down. Okay? So the link will be up in the Level Up group. So anyway, you guys take care of yourselves. Take care of one another. And until then, I will talk to you next week, Thursday, 7 p.m. Until then, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year and good food and gifts and champagne and all that kind of good stuff. Enjoy yourselves and take this time with your family. All right? You guys take care.